Hello and welcome to the PhD Life Raft podcast. I'm Emma Brzezinski and today I am talking to the wonderful Victoria Wright from The Living Herb. Today is our festive edition. It is a solstice edition and Victoria and I are talking about seasonal practices that you can explore. So I do hope you enjoy this episode and I wish you a very happy festive season and a joyful and healthy new year. Hello, Victoria.
Hi, Emma. How are you?
I am very well, and I am really, really looking forward to this discussion. And I was just saying, I'm so grateful that you said yes to this woman who was stalking you online. So we are going to be talking about the solstice. This is our kind of seasonal episode. And I am really excited to dive into that, to think about the solstice, to think about attending to the seasons, think about self-care around that. But before we get to that, I'm going to ask the question that I ask to everybody in terms of, tell us a little bit about your PhD journey, which I'm sure it seems a long time. It's another lifetime for you, I know. And we'll get to that in a minute. But can you tell us about your PhD journey into and out the other side, please?
Right. Well, so I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that I was good at physics. I went to a physics degree, and it was actually, I was in the pub after getting my results, and a couple of lecturers came and sat down either side of me and said, "Can we buy you a pint?" And of course, being a student, I said, "Yes, please."
Hey!
Little did I know that actually they were saddling up to me because they had a PhD place that they wanted to fill and they wanted me to fill it. I, like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I wanted to do something practical with my hands. I like playing with things. So my PhD, I was actually building part of the LHC, which was very exciting at the time. And, it was interesting. It was fun. And, that started an academic career, really.
So it was fun and something that you kind of got into. I'm sure there'll be some people listening who was like, yeah, I just kind of got ambushed and now I'm on this PhD program. And then you went into an academic career.
Yeah.
How was that?
So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the research. But I found after my PhD that I really wanted to help people. So it was quite a journey going from, not really having a clue what I wanted to do, but I'll do the PhD because I didn't have a job. I didn't know what I wanted to do, through to going, by the end of it, I want to help people. And then trying to do that through the research that I was doing. So I moved from particle physics into making imaging detectors for mammography and for protein crystallography.
Wow.
But it never really felt immediate enough. So it always felt like I was a bit one step removed from doing actual help, if that makes sense.
Makes absolute sense. Because your heart had shifted. And where had it shifted to? She said, "I know the answer to this, but tell us where it shifted to. Tell us where you were going."
It didn't shift immediately. So I moved into academic administration. So working for the research councils and looking after strategy and policy for essentially the same area of science that I was working in as a researcher. But I happened to be on a retreat. Everything seems to happen in my life, just like, coincidence, really.
No, I love it.
I went on a meditation retreat, and I had a chance conversation with a doctor, and I said, I enjoy my job, but, I want to help people. And he said to me, you'll find what it is you want to do. I was like, okay. And by the time I'd got off the train coming home from the retreat, I had signed up to do a herbal medicine degree. which I don't advise.
Wow, that's quick working. That's quick working.
Yep. And so that's been quite a journey. So from doing the herbal medicine degree, started practicing as a herbalist, and then realizing that actually, in order to look after our physical health, we really need to support our mental and emotional well-being as well. So studying coaching and contemplative psychology and a whole bunch of other things to try and bring a mix of like how I can really support people.
How gorgeous is that? How gorgeous is that? And so now that's the work that you do.
It is, yeah.
And we'll have all the links to your work in the show notes, because I am sure what people are going to want to find out more about this. So I ambushed you, just like you were ambushed in the pub. I ambushed you in terms of talking about the solstice and seasonal practices, because I knew that you had an understanding of that academic life, but you also now have quite a different perspective on life, I guess, generally. So tell us a little, and also you'd written something really beautiful. So tell us a little bit about the solstice and seasonal practices and how that is for you.
So for me, like I said, there's this whole journey for me. So from being like a really hardcore physicist, sciencey head, and actually learning a bit more about myself as a person. So whilst I was doing my PhD and my degree, but in the final year of my degree, my physics degree, I was diagnosed with a chronic health condition. And that was after, 7 years of being in pain. And, I went through all the standard medical treatment and what have you. And actually, it was really when I started to listen to my body very, very deeply, only then did I start to recover. That with herbal medicine, I went from being in pain every single day to being completely pain-free.
Wow.
And it wasn't, just the herbal medicine. I mean, the herbal medicine's been amazing, but the longevity of being pain-free has actually been about really listening deeply to my own body. And you can only do that if you feel connected and you're quiet. And bringing that back to the solstice, we've lost our connection a little bit with the seasons. We're used to these days artificial lights, staying warm indoors, and so that natural period of rest that happens when the nights get shorter, it gets darker, we just don't seem to have. We continue to just go because that's what we can do. We have the facilities to be able to do that.
Yes.
And actually, there is a real opportunity to slow down just a touch. Doesn't have to be massive. I get, we have to write our theses, but to slow down and allow a bit more space and a little bit more opportunity for rest and to go in and finding that introspective place.
Oh, that is golden. That is golden. And I think it's something we talk about a lot on the podcast, this sense of being so much in your head as a researcher, and not being in your body and not listening to the rhythms of the season. But the thing is, your body is still listening to the rhythm of the season, even if your head isn't.
Exactly.
So, well, I was just going to ask, what sort of practices, how can we come into that place of connection if people are aware that that's what's going on and they want to do something about it?
So, there are a number of different ways. The first is to actually spend time outdoors. Now, I'm not just talking about like going for a brisk walk and to get your exercise in, but actually there's a really nice practice called a sit spot, which I'd highly recommend. And that's finding a nice spot somewhere in nature. It could just be in a garden if you have access to a garden, it could be in a local park. If you're lucky enough to live near some countryside, it could be, on a hill, or in a wood or something. Just a nice spot where you feel safe and comfortable to just sit and to just sit there, as frequently as you can, for as long as you can, but 10 minutes is enough. not having your phones with you. I mean, put the phone in pocket, stick it on silent, but just really just sit and be present and just watch what's going on around us and noticing the change of the seasons and then listening to what your body is saying. So, rather than going in your head and saying, oh, what is my body thinking? Actually trying to feel, well, what's my body feeling like in this moment? It may be freezing cold, if it's in the depths of winter, but it may not be actually. You may find that if you relax into feeling your body, that the cold is there, but it's not so intense and it's not so present as if it would be if we were in our heads.
Oh, I love it. I can already feel my breathing slowing down, even as you say that, in terms of just being in the moment with nothing else to do. I think that sense of just being with nature. Oh, amazing.
And that connection allows us to, find that rest part of ourselves. And, it gives our heads a little bit of a break. And,
yes.
I don't know about you, but I certainly find if I'm struggling with a problem or, if there's something going on, actually taking myself away from it, and allowing my brain to rest, it actually will solve the problem for me in a way that thinking about it never could.
Yes, and there's so much research on this in terms of just allowing that subconscious mind to do its work. And you just taking time to, as you say, to rest. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Anything, have you got any, because you said there are a few things. Is there anything else you would offer?
There's loads of stuff. I mean, the winter's a great time to really go deeply into ourselves. And, I talked about my journey about, not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And actually the winter, offers up that opportunity. It's kind of like a sense of hope and renewal. If you look at the trees that, they're all going into themselves, the leaves have gone, the sap's going down into the roots. There's a real sense of, going deep into ourselves, and to understand what it is we want from our lives, and to have that sense of, renewal for the next year. So from that point of view, from if you like, maybe a bit more of a spiritual point of view, there are things we can do. But then also there's practical things that we can do as well to connect with that energy of renewal as well. So, for example, cleaning up. I know it sounds really boring, but I don't know about you. When I'm busy focused on something else, the last thing I feel like doing is housework. But actually, it's a real time to tidy up our space. And that process of tidying up our space gives us confidence, and it gives our head space as well, in order, again, to be able to cope with the next part of what's coming up.
Oh, yes. No, I've been doing a book called Year to Clear, and in terms of that sense of absolutely clearing energy, as a way of, like you say, of clearing your mind and being able to just be focused. It's brilliant, really brilliant. This is such good stuff. And I think that sense of actually taking a pause and acknowledging this time, that's what I'm really taking away from this too, that it's that sense of allowing yourself, because hopefully people will be having some kind of break at this moment, and then be able to do that, and then return to their work with that kind of renewed energy. Would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And so I think that those, I'm also aware, because I want to just tap you for all your wisdom that you've got. get our money's worth out of it. This sense of, because I'm aware that with your kind of your practice thinks about the body too, in terms of health, and I wonder whether there's anything particular seasonal practices for looking after the body at this moment.
Yeah, so I think making sure our body gets enough nourishment is really important. There's we've talked about rest in terms of sleep, and that's a form of nourishment for the body, but then also thinking about the types of foods that we eat as well. So, if you think of winter, we want that really lovely, warm, comforting food. Now that can be soups and stews, but thinking about the types of spices that we're eating as well. So cinnamon and ginger are really warming herbs, and they're used medicinally as well, but they have that warming feeling that can help nourish the body at this time. But then also things such as walnuts, for example, again, it has that like warming winter. They're very seasonal foods, but they're also filled with omega-3, which is really great brain food. So it's a really good opportunity to bring in that the things that are nourishing for the body, but will also help with our brain function as well. And again, if you're a meat eater, again, getting a slow cooker, which I'm sure will be available in January sales, it's a really easy way to fill it with lovely, warm, rich stews, and having that sense of like lots of B12, the methylation, which really helps with the production of neurotransmitters. So there's like really practical things that we can do as well. It's not just about resting and feeling that sense of emotional nourishment, but actually we can nourish our bodies very physically too.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. Walnuts, superfoods. Amazing. Okay, so there is, it's so often, so I'm aware of time, and there's so many more questions I would like to ask, but I'm going to just leave it with this, come to a top tip in a minute. I'm aware, and as I say, we will have all your information in the show notes, because I know that then people might have more questions to ask, or want to follow up a bit more in terms of attending more carefully to what they're eating, or how they are in terms of meditation practice and things like that.
So I mean, if anybody does want to get in touch, then please do. I love to hear from people, so I'm always happy to have a conversation with people if they want to.
Amazing. And I'm also aware that we do have quite a lot of, we do have a very international audience, and there may be people who are going, but it's not winter, we're having the summer solstice. Well, first of all, you could just play this at another time of the year, and also there's a lot of information that will be useful for you as you come to the summer solstice. Absolutely. And we'll send us some sunshine as you're thinking of that.
Yeah.
So then we're just going to come now. You've given us so much useful information already, but I just wonder if there's a top tip that you could leave us to take away for around the solstice time.
I think I've kind of covered it a little bit, but my top tip is listen to your bodies. Take time to just really get to know what your body is telling you, because actually, if you can listen, it will give you the most immense wisdom about how you are, about what you need, and about what's important.
So gorgeous. Victoria, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for signing up for that course on the train. And all that you're now bringing to the world. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you all for listening.